Hey friends, as I've worked with thousands of different leaders, I've found that there is one common problem that most of them have. Whether you be a frontline employee, lower management, middle management, upper management, a contractor, a supplier, we all basically face one major problem, that is communication. How can we communicate clearly? Well, I've provided to you two different videos in the past about good communication, and this is my third in a series of three. This one is all about how to make the request. You see, whether you're a leader or you simply lead by influencing people, we ask people to do things every single day. We're constantly sharing information. And unfortunately, most of this sharing of information takes place in one form, and it doesn't meet the needs of all people. Allow me to share a story to emphasize this point. Imagine that you went to a concert with two of your best buddies. And while you're at this concert, all three of you enjoyed it tremendously. As you're walking outside of the conference, when it's all over, you turn to your friend and you say, "Oh my gosh, that was an amazing concert. Did you see the pyrotechnics they had and the laser shows, the graphics that were going on? My gosh, that was one of the best performances I've ever seen." And your friend turns to you and says, "Yeah, it was a good performance, but that's not the reason why. I really enjoyed this performance because of did you hear the rhythm that the band created? The way the beats were done, the acoustics of the room, it was absolutely outstanding. Everything that I heard was just amazing." And your third buddy turns to both of you and says, "You're all right. It was good, but those weren't the reasons why. Did you not listen to the words? Did you not feel the emotion that the singers were expressing? Did you not see all of us breaking out in tears as we really understood what they were trying to portray to us?" You see, three different people and three different experiences, three different responses to the way that they enjoyed a concert. And when we are leaders and trying to get people to do things or to think in certain ways, when we're giving tasks to individuals, we need to recognize there's three different primary ways that people enjoy their learning. Some people, you may have recognized, are more visual learners. This is true. They like to see things in pictures or images or videos. It's one of the main reasons why video is such a big thing going on right now in all of our social media. Other individuals tend to be more auditory. That is, they want to hear things. So giving verbal instructions to these types of learners works really, really well. And a third group are more kinesthetic. That is, they want to feel things, either tactically with their fingers and their hands, maneuver or manipulate different things, get involved that way, or maybe they just want to feel emotionally to things. But there are three different major types of learners, those that are visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. And unfortunately, as leaders, most of the time when we're giving instructions to people, we do this in a more auditory kind of way. We go to people, we have a team meeting or a one-on-one, we tell them what we want them to do. And then when they don't do what we want them to do, we wonder, well, why was that? Interestingly, it very well could be because we did not match their particular learning style. You see, if you're a visual, you want to have things in pictures and videos. You want to create an image. If you're kinesthetic, you want to get started on it first. You need to feel, you need to be shown specifically what to do. And as mentioned, as leaders, we tend to just focus on the auditory side of things. When we adapt the way that we give instructions to people, I call this the request, and it's part one of three parts of being a really clear communicator to people. We need the request, an explanation, and we need to inquire for understanding. Did they get what we were asking them to do? If you're curious about the two other steps, I've already produced videos on that. You can go back on my channel and see those videos. One really describes and emphasizes the importance of giving an explanation. So we ask somebody to do something, but why? And why does it have to be done a certain way? That's critical to include when you're giving instructions to people. Another thing, part of the REI communication piece, is the inquiry. That is, we need to ask people if they really understood. Hey, I just gave you these instructions. I'm just kind of curious, what would be the first thing that you would do to get started? Or what does done look like for you? Or could you repeat back to me what you've just heard? And we're checking for inquiry. But neither of those things are important unless we're really, really clear about giving our requests. As mentioned, when we give requests to visuals, they love to be able to see things in pictures. So any kind of chart, diagram, any video, any picture you can provide is going to really help visuals understand what is required of them. One of my favorite things to do with visual learners is actually to provide an SOP, a standardized operating procedure, and put it into pictures so they can understand step by step by step by step what needs to happen in order for them to get it done right. When I was a teacher teaching social studies to ninth grade students, I had a serious problem every single day. They would use all of the materials on a shelving rack that I had in my classroom, and at the end of the period, they'd put them back, but definitely not in the order I wanted them to put them back in. It was honestly a mess every single day. And I was very frustrated about this. And so what did I do? I continued to tell them, hey, this is how you need to do it. Hey, make sure you take time to clean up. Hey, everything goes back in the way it should be going back. And none of that really was working very well until one day I got the bright idea and thought, man, most of the people in my classroom were actually visual learners. What if I set it up exactly how I want it to be, take a picture of it, blow that picture up and put it up on the wall? So I tried that out, and then I asked my students, hey, when we're finished with class today, that's what I want it to look like. Interestingly, their putting back of materials increased significantly. Not quite to the degree that I wanted, but a whole lot better than it was before, because these were visual learners. Individuals that tend to be a little more kinesthetic, again, want to be able to touch things and feel things. They want to do things. So you may ask them to do something, and then they're just going to get started on it. You may want to give them a checklist. So once they're done doing it, they can come back and see if things were done correctly. So a little less information on the forefront. A standardized operating procedure might not be the best thing for a Kino, but having them do it first and then providing a checklist and saying, all right, here's some criteria. Did you meet this criteria? Is something that could work for these individuals. They love the experiential kind of things, role plays. Hey, can you do this and show me what you think needs to be done? They also love teaching others. So when you're instructing and giving tasks to a person that might be more kinesthetic, keep that in mind. Get them physically doing the process first, and you'll connect a whole lot better with these people. Finally, just because most of what you do as a leader is provide a verbal description of what needs to be done doesn't mean that you're always hitting the head on the hammer for our auditories. Auditory individuals do need explanation, but they need it to be clear and they need it to be direct. One of the amazing tools that I use in this particular realm of working with auditories is what I call WINFY. WINFY. And it's a short little phrase for you as leaders to keep in mind to be crystal clear and maybe a little more direct than you're comfortable with on what you need to get done. WINFY stands for what I need from you. So I might go over to somebody and say, hey, Jasmine, I'm super excited about you working on this project today. What I need from you is, and then I explain what needs to happen. You see, I come from the Midwest, and I don't know how it is where you live, but we tend to be a little more friendly. We tend to beat around the bush and not be as direct with individuals. We tend to just assume that people are going to understand. And this is very powerful for anybody that might fall in that category. You need to be direct with individuals. I recall one morning my wife was getting ready to go on a bike ride, and she said, hey, Jason, can you get the bike out of the rafters? And we hang the bike up in our garage up in the rafters. And I said, sure, no problems at all. Well, I got a little bit busy, kind of forgot about it, took off to work, and I came back to an angry wife. Why? Because she wasn't really direct. She needed that down before I took off to work. I didn't understand. I just thought she needed it down at some point. She could have used the phrase, what I need from you is my bike down before you go to work. And now it's clear, and now it's direct. So even though you may be giving lots of instructions verbally, try to be a little clearer and a little more direct, and you'll match better with your auditories. Friends, one way or another, in order for you to become a really great communicator and ensure that you're getting people to do what you ask them to do, is to first start with the idea of request. What are you doing to ensure that the request is clear and direct and matches the learning style of those that you're working with? When you figure out if you're working with visuals or auditories or kinesthetic individuals, well, that makes your job a little bit easier, because now you can differentiate the way that you do leadership to better match their preferred method. And by doing so, they're going to better understand, and your chance of getting them to do what you ask them to do significantly increases. So take some time and really consider your team. Consider the people you work with. Do they need more standardized operating procedures? Is this something you should take some time and really work through and develop so it's clear for people? Do you need to create more pictures or visuals, more videos that are going on? Do you need to be a little more direct in your verbal communication? Do you need to just kind of back off a little bit and let people start and try things, but then provide them some guidance or a checklist to follow up? I don't know necessarily what you need, but I hope by watching this video, it inspires you to think a little bit more closely about your team and allows you to consider other ways of providing the request. This is just one of the This is just one, but the first one of the three-step process for providing clear communication. Request, make sure you're clear and direct about what we're requesting. Explanation, did we provide the reasons why it needs to be done and why it needs to be done in a certain way? And inquiry, are we checking for understanding? Did we ask questions to ensure that whatever we portrayed over, they understood? If you do these three things, I promise you, you're going to be much clearer in your communication, and perhaps all of those problems people keep complaining about will actually be reduced because you now are a clear communicator. Thank you for watching and paying attention. I hope you have a great rest of your day.